Hey guys! Today I have a new bloom to share with you. If you've been keeping up on the channel, you may know that I love mixing new acrylic paint colors. Most of the time, I probably spend more time mixing paint than I actually spend painting. I find creating your own colors to be very rewarding. For this bloom, I'm going to show you the process of mixing the acrylic colors from a chosen palette all the way to the stunning final results. I also have a new cell activator idea to share with you guys. When I start out with a color palette, I take a look at what acrylic paint colors I have to start with. I then choose a paint that looks close to the palette color that I'm trying to match. Now, again, I am not an expert in color theory. For the most part, I'm not trying to get exact. I'm going for close enough. I left in the color oops I had during this mixing session. While mixing one of the pinks, I mistakenly mixed in too much yellow and it turned the color orange. If it happens that you mix a color and it doesn't quite land where you thought it would, just set it off to the side. If I'm working on a certain color palette and I mix wrong, I typically will just set it off and see if there's another palette it will work with. Sometimes the colors you end up with aren't quite what you were going for in the current palette, but they will work with other pours just fine. So unless you just end up with mud, keep your mixing mistakes and see if you can work them out later. I'm using the color palette as a guide. I know that my chances of getting the exact match aren't great. I'm just aiming to get as close as possible. I have a pretty relaxed relationship with color. There are colors that I have mixed and fell in love with, but since I don't measure, I'll probably never be able to mix them exactly the same ever again. I personally am okay with that. If you're not that kind of person, make sure that you're not only writing down the colors you're using, make sure you add in the amount as well. It doesn't have to be an exact measurement. Most of the time, something to the effect of 2 parts cadmium red, 1 part azo yellow, half part gold interference will work. It will be easier for you to recreate the colors if you have a recipe of sorts. The more you work with mixing, the easier it will be to see what colors you need to use. I happen to have a lot of paint colors. Some of you may not have quite as many, and that's okay. Try working with a simple color palette first. Find palettes that are close to the range of paints that you have on hand, and then experiment with mixing to match. In addition to the colors, having a white, black, and gray will help you adjust the mixes. White will soften the colors up a bit, taking on a more pastel look. Black can be used to make darker shades of your color. And I use gray when the color I'm mixing is just a bit brighter than the one I'm going for. Gray is great for toning colors down. I use white, black, and gray a lot, but only in small amounts at a time. These colors can quickly overtake any other color that you're mixing. Start your additions small and add more if needed. You can add more paint all you want, but once it's in there, you can't really turn back. I've been working on a series of pours based on colorful reptiles. I actually did this pour in between reptile pours. When I was mixing the colors for the reptile series, I also mixed several different colors of cell activator. I had a bit of activator mix left over after mixing the colors I wanted, so I decided to test out an idea I had. Instead of mixing in a paint color, I decided to mix in clear gel medium instead. I wanted to see what an invisible cell activator would do. Since I already had these violet colors mixed up, I went ahead and tested the clear activator with them. I also have used it in a couple of spots on some of the pours in the upcoming series. I hadn't used the gold background in a while, and it seemed like the perfect choice for this violet color palette. The clear cell activator seems to take the top color at the time and create the cell effect with it. Since I shift my palette knife around so much, there are plenty of chances for the colors to change around and give different lacing colors. Make sure you check out the close-ups at the end. The initial swipe that pulls in some of the background leaves cell patterns within the gold paint that are just incredibly awesome. There were a couple of small cracks, but I never really mind them quite as much with the gold base. I'm blaming this on the fact that I mixed these violet colors about a month or so before I actually used them. I've used paints that have been mixed for a month or more without issue, but occasionally you will get some cracking or separating. This is especially true if you don't get them mixed back up extremely well. I wanted to get this video in before starting with the Colorful Reptile series. In that series, I will be taking images of reptiles and using an online color picking tool to grab the colors. From there, I'll mix the paints and do a few blooms for each reptile. Mixing colors from a palette is a great way to get new color combination ideas. I've been wanting to do pours based on colorful reptiles for a while now. I think nature has some of the most fascinating color palettes around. I'm also considering an iridescent insect series, but I have a bit more research to do there. So far, I've mixed a few different species of chameleon. If any of you have any suggestions on reptiles I should look into, let me know in the comments below. That's going to be it from me today. I love the results on this pour. Even though it had a couple of issues, the results are stunning. I can't wait to throw the clear cell activator on some more pours. I'm really digging the way it reacts with the colors on the canvas. If you haven't already, go ahead and take a second to subscribe. The next video will be the beginning of the Colorful Reptile series, so make sure you don't miss it. Hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you next time. Bye!